Since then, I have retained legal counsel to take the necessary steps to deal with this scenario, and I'm also in the middle of a lawsuit with some of the involved parties in this case. Now, I need to make this very clear to everybody watching this video. I have never received explicit images from any underage individual. I have never sent explicit images to any underage individual. I have never made travel arrangements with ulterior motives with any underage individual. I have never been touched or touched in any shape or form any underage individual. And I have never had conversations with only the intention to groom an underage individual or take advantage of them. Anything you may have heard or seen that suggests otherwise is a lie.
Okay, so firstly, I just want to say that's pretty weird. Like he says that he's never had the sole intention of grooming someone underage. Like that wasn't the sole purpose.
It sounds like something the lawyers told him to say, but then he went a little bit off script and tried to embellish it, and
Yeah.
it just went horribly, horribly wrong.
He's never been in contact with someone underage with the sole intention of grooming them. I would have just said it all.
Or he never ever touched an underage person in any way, shape, or form, like, ever? I mean, couldn't you have just said sexually and left it at that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I
who
don't
is
think
that
he's the
guy, Vicky?
brightest bulb on the tree,
Who
honestly.
is that guy?
That is ZeRo.
Yeah. And ZeRo is from the Smash community.
ZeRo was ranked as one of, like, he was, like, the top Smash player at one point
Yeah.
before his walls came tumbling down.
Before he started possibly smashing underage. No, I'm joking.
No, I don't think he did,
Yeah.
honestly. Um, it's just it's a long, complicated story that involves a vindictive SJW.
Yeah. That's
So, yeah. Um, Weirdly enough, this all happened last year, the allegations and his dipping off of social media and um, not being allowed to play in any more tournaments.
mhm.
And but a new video came out from a gentleman by the name that goes by the handle Technicals. He
Mhm.
did like a year-long investigative, well, I guess they call it an investigative, and produced a couple of videos that he put up on his YouTube that he calls documentaries. He talked to a lot of people, he did a lot of research, basically he just talked to a lot of people. And it seems like he talked a lot to ZeRo.
Yeah.
Like, you know, um, when ZeRo gave his latest video, which was kind of a response, and they may have even come out at pretty much the exact same time. He references the videos by Technicals.
Yeah.
Is his this is the guy that gathered all the evidence, so he now knows what happened to it.
Yeah.
Because
Well, so
like he wasn't there or anything.
yeah, exactly. Well, so it's weird though because I guess they're saying that uh in order to kind of get the word on ZeRo right now, you have to talk to technicals. Uh, like like
Yeah, that's not happening.
it's just weird.
It's very strange.
But I guess we can go ahead and start. Can you guys speak up? I'm wearing a towel.
Ooh, smug pug, you holding it up with those sausage fingers?
Okay. Uh, towel head. Anyways,
Okay.
yeah, I guess we can just go ahead and watch the second video.
Perfect.
Let's just
Hey everyone, it's been a long time since I've talked to you guys on this channel. As you may have heard, I was involved in some big allegations as of last year, and since then I have not uploaded to this channel. I have taken a break from social media and I pretty much just up and disappear.
I've seen a lot of people who don't even know what's going on with ZeRo.
I had an initial paragraph about the stuff against ZeRo, then I rewrote it entirely when new information came out, and now I've deleted that entirely when even more information came out, and I am replacing it with, I have no idea what the fuck's going on.
But after taking time to reflect and think properly and review all of the evidence that came forward later on, I realized this was a big plot to assassinate my character and just destroy my life. Since then, I have retained legal counsel to take the necessary steps to deal with this scenario, and I'm also in the middle of a lawsuit with some of the involved parties in this case.
This, in my opinion, is probably the only serious and legitimate problem that people have with ZeRo.
Dear ZeRo, my name is Katie. I used to be in the Smash community. I was 14 years old during our conversations on Skype from September 2014 to January 2015. We met online when you were streaming on Twitch, and I messaged you over chat. You seemed to take an interest in me and gave me your Skype username. I, starstruck, made a Skype just for this and began chatting with you.
At the time of the messages, ZeRo was 19 and Katie was allegedly 14. I only say allegedly because there's no way I can confirm her age on account of her being anonymous. I genuinely tried to get in contact with her, but every lead either had me blocked or refused to say anything. So,
Target.
can't say
I was a young girl enraptured with the idea of being friends with someone I looked up to and admired. You used me in this state to flirt, manipulate, and ask for sexual favors from me. To remind you, this is what happened in our conversations. You called me kitty, kitten, honey, all mine, while flirting the entire time.
Tell me some more about you. Like, what do I not know about you?
I'm 14. I'm a girl. I'm smart, but I love Smash. Also, do you think that we could video chat one day? Sometime? Not now. You don't have to.
Yeah, sure we could.
Go.
If we assume that all of what Katie says is true, this is disgusting. Remember, ZeRo is 19, and he is aware that the girl he's engaging with is 14.
The worst offense I can remember is that you asked me to masturbate with ice and take pictures. I lied when I told you I masturbated as you asked, and then I declined sending you pictures. The worst part of all of this is that I did not take screenshots of this particular situation since I was so embarrassed by it. You wanted to make this activity a habit, that every 2 weeks I would do what you say for a day.
I promise I'll be normal. If every 2 weeks we could do something like that, or in that day, I could go all in.
But thankfully, we don't have to do forensics on the screenshots to judge the validity of the allegations, because ZeRo actually confessed, and he went one step further and confessed to stuff we didn't have screenshots for.
Hey, I can't sleep, and I just can't take this back and forth. I don't think it makes sense to keep this going. I just want this all to stop and for me to at least atone. I also want people to stop defending me. I don't deserve it. Katie, the screenshot you guys were wondering about the ice cube thing, it's true. The claims that Katie makes are true in general. There are no graphic pictures or anything of the sort, but it's unforgivable regardless. Let's just recap. It would be impossible for ZeRo to go to jail over this. He never exchanged any images. Every other story involves an adult, and he hasn't had a slip-up in 7 years. He must be the Dexter of pedophiles or the most patient barber I've ever seen.
If you have a confession to inappropriate conversation with minors, that's game over for you in the online space. But what Technicals does next is completely out of left field.
If you're an observant reader, you may have noticed the stark contrast of tone from his previous responses. That's because ZeRo wholeheartedly intended for this to be his suicide note. And had it not been for Vanessa, that may have well been the case.
Technical spends the next 3 minutes interviewing ZeRo and Vanessa, recanting details about ZeRo's graphic suicide story. This entire section completely took me by surprise, and I can see it served no other purpose than to emotionally manipulate the audience to feel bad for ZeRo.
What I think we're looking at is a culmination of a fucked up childhood and trauma, resulting in emotional immaturity and a lack of genuine and fulfilling relationships.
Okay, I mashed up 3 different videos there.
Yeah,
Um,
those were a few
yeah.
different streams. Uh,
The first one was ZeRo's response to the allegations. It came out at the same time as ZeRo, who's the skinny guy, the skinnier guy. That was his video. And
Yeah.
then the third one is basically a sort of an examination of Technical's
response,
video,
kind of.
a response
Yeah.
by John Swan. All of them are in the description. You can watch them all to your heart's content to see that I haven't taken anything out of context. Now, I did ignore a lot of information because where this all started was some little bint named Jisoo,
Mhm.
who put out a Google document that had all these accusations against ZeRo, right?
Yeah.
She'd quote talked to all of these different women. There was this stuff that had gone down in the house where all the Smash where a bunch of Smash players were living. And Technicals breaks down a lot of that. And frankly, a lot of it just comes off as bullshit. Right? Except for Katie.
Yeah, Katie is like
Katie's like the diamond at the bottom of the offal pile.
yeah, but not a
Right.
good diamond. A diamond that is very gross
Yeah.
and
Yeah, the Katie thing is
pedophilic? A pedophilic diamond?
You know, I have also put a link to Katie's testimonial, her tweet longer, in the description, as well as ZeRo's quote confession. They're both down there. I'm not gonna go through I figure if you guys want the information, I'm gonna make it available. I spent like 45 minutes today hunting all this shit down. I didn't follow the story at the time. I didn't give a shit about it, right? But I had to hunt this shit down because it was nowhere. Like nobody put anything in the descriptions of their video pointing you to certain places. Stuff was tweets were archived, which was handy, but I didn't exactly have the link. I had to go find them. But you guys can go look at all of her screenshots from their Skype conversations and make up your own minds about how you think he was behaving, how she was behaving. To me, she came off like any 14-year-old starstruck little girl who felt really awkward by some of the things that had been said.
Yeah, like let's not forget the guy confessed.
Right. Yeah.
The messages exist too,
Yeah. They do exist. I think the commentard community is just one of the weirdest freaking places because this story went from, Technical's video to Technical's just did the video because he's trying to hide some skeevy behavior by his brother, which involves drawing anime porn of underage individuals in their Discord. I mean, just like skeevy shit, right? And being the commentary community, they can't stay on track. Like, in Technical's video, he tries to emotionally manipulate you, and then with the whole suicide thing, and then at the end of the video, he's like, well, what ZeRo did wasn't as bad as what some of these other guys did, right?
That's not really justification.
It's not justification. John Swan at the end of his video, which is a good video. It's a very good breakdown. It's a good fisking of the video. At the very end of it, brings up Technical's brother, right? So they automatically have like laid they've automatically laid in like the distraction points that people are going to grab onto instead of paying attention to the actual story, which is this now I don't want to call it a meme, but this sense and this declaration in the commentard community that he walked back his confession, but he didn't, right? He said, I never touched anybody. I never groomed anybody. I never sent pictures of anybody. I never, but he never once said, I never said that shit to Katie. Right?
Yeah. Well, that's,
He-
I mean, the actual text exists though. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like,
Well, I mean, the ice masturbation thing, that particular DM doesn't exist because she says she was too embarrassed at the time. And I can totally get that, like from a 14-year-old girl being too embarrassed to do that. But in this confession, he brings up some girl nobody was even talking about,
yeah, that's true.
who
but
he
the thing
thought
about
was
that one-
older, but turned out to be underage. But the girl had lied, so it's totally irrelevant.
Yeah, that
to
one's
the
that one's
entire
on her.
story.
She's a lying skank.
Right? Yeah, she's a
but-
lying skank. There's a lot of lying skanks here, in this whole thing, except for, in my opinion, is Katie, who's nowhere to be found now. Larry, she dipped. She's gone. Her head hasn't peeked back up.
Yeah.
So it's just such a weird place, right?
Mhm.
And all the videos about each other and the tweets about each other and their takes instead of what's actually going on brings us to the very bowels of the commentard community and Steve Delive.
Steve Delive. Now, for those of you that don't remember or maybe weren't here, Steve Delive suffers from decrepit Canadian syndrome. He is, of course, from Canada. That is the only way that you get I mean, every Canadian is born with that disease, making them less than human, subpar to the rest of the world, and generally just pretty much retarded.
Very smooth brain.
Very smooth brained.
Very
So
smooth
let's
brain.
I guess hear what Steve Delive had to say about the issue.
Now, ZeRo admitted to all of these bad things that he did, apparently, when he was suicidal. Apparently, anything that like came to him, he was just like, yes, I did it, I'm sorry. And then he said he was gonna, he said that he was planning to kill himself, and that's why he admitted to everything. There is things you can verify that were false that he admitted to. So he thought he could like reincarnate himself and come back like as a better person and all this other stuff. It was really, really sus. I think if this was any other people, any other way around, the commentary community would want evidence for this, and I don't see any fucking evidence of this. I don't see how you could read those messages and then come to the conclusion that yes, those masturbation messages must exist. That's fucking loopy. And I wish I'd read the messages before talking to Willie Mac last night. Because he seems to think that like from what he read, he has no doubt in his mind that the fucking Ice Cube thing exists, and the fact that ZeRo himself didn't deny it, even though he walked back the confession.
I have never received explicit images from any underage individual. I have never sent explicit images to any underage individual. I have never made travel arrangements with ulterior motives with any underage individual. I have never been touched or touched in any shape or form any underage individual. And I have never had conversations with only the intention to groom an underage individual or take advantage of them. Anything you may have heard or seen that suggests otherwise is a lie.
The only evidence that proves to there was any sexting at all, that's the other thing too. I don't think people know how to define fucking sexting. You could say that there's like, you could define it as inappropriate flirting, a 19-year-old with a 14-year-old, which by the way is two teenagers. So these innocent, you could skew them. I say, oh, well, they're not innocent because it's a 19 and 14-year-old. If you didn't know the ages, I'd say these are very fucking innocent texts. I would not assume that the next message being read would be like a masturbation fucking demand. So I really, unless I see that, or unless I get verification from the fucking actual victim, there's no victim.
God, he looks like such a fucking crackhead. Like, they really shouldn't let him on camera.
They shouldn't.
They shouldn't let him on fucking YouTube.
They shouldn't let
actually.
Canadians in general. You know, I know that's a spicy take, but it's true, right? It's like you got Steve Delive, you got Drunken Surfer, PPP, all Canadians.
Yeah.
Just all shouldn't be on YouTube.
None of them.
Yeah.
It's just so it's so nuts, right? So my sense is, and honest, I didn't watch Crow's stream. I'm just not.
But Crow, by the way, is my sister brother, who we'll be talking about a little later. He
fuck that shit.
Steve is a co-host on his channel, or maybe he was.
No, I think still is. It's the weirdest thing. So I think he came out with this, you know, it's a 14 and a 19-year-old. They're both teenagers, so there's really nothing wrong with it. Take on that stream, and that was the one that they were all, even those dipshits were like, Steve.
Yeah, well, like that's the thing
all
is like
this shit shows up on Twitter after,
whether or not like sure, some people think that the texts don't exist, right? Sure, but Steve Delive says that even if it doesn't exist, you know, this is just a 19 and a 14-year-old.
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. I saw some shit going around Twitter like, well, he didn't know that she was 14. Yeah, he fucking did. The first
that part
day,
is actually those texts are available.
Yeah. He did know the very first day that they DM'd on Skype that she was 14 years old. Right? A few days later, he's saying, I'm guessing some of the stuff she didn't say, which was kind of inappropriate to be saying to a 14-year-old, because she's talking about how she's blushing in science class and shit like that. And people are looking at her because she's turning beet red because they're DMing while she's in class.
Wait, 1 second. That's actually very true, Big Daddy. Trailer Park Boys is fucking fire.
Was the only good thing to come out of Canada, frankly. You know, and he asked her what grade she's in. And she's like, I'm in 9th grade. Okay, he's Chilean. Maybe he didn't get the 9th grade reference, but he knew she was 14.
Also, why are you asking what grade she's in? Why are you knowingly talking to someone still in school? Like,
who's still in high school when you're an adult, right? And that's just fucking inappropriate. There's no bones. If when you're flirting, and even if like the worst of it never happened,
you're still flirting with a 14-year-old.
He's still flirting with a 14-year-old girl.
That's just gross.
Which is just flat out fucking disgusting. And then to say, it doesn't matter if it's true. And, oh my God. 14 and 19 are just teenagers. And one point in that technicals video where he says, I wasn't able to verify that she's actually 14. It makes absolutely no difference because ZeRo knew she was 14.
Yeah.
He had no reason to doubt that she was 14 fucking years old. She could have been 25 and they could have been playing To Catch a Fucking Predator and she could have said she was 14. And it still wouldn't make a lick of difference.
Yeah. Well, so our good viewer, I won't say friend, our good viewer, Amit, asks, what is age of consent in Chile? I don't think that's relevant, seeing as this was America.
I mean,
you
it
know,
might be, it could be 16 for all I know. I've never
either way,
looked at
it's
the age of consent in Chile.
yeah.
Mr. Yanafui isn't here to ask.
So
in Chile, the age of consent is 18.
Huh.
It is possible for two individuals, both age 17 or under, who willingly engage in intercourse to be prosecuted for statutory rape, although this is rare.
okay, but once again, this
So
isn't
that's
Japan, and also
answers-
Japan's stupid degenerate. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if Japan's really the model we should look at. Also irrelevant since it wasn't Japan.
Yeah.
And morally, still gross, even if it was Japan.
Still
You
gross.
can't really base your morals off of the law. That's just not what you should do. And secondly, even if that is what you do base it off of, well, here it'd still be gross. You know, like two nukes wasn't enough.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, this is just Steve's been coming under. Ross Sutton here points out that that this shit backfires on Steve. Like their audience, the Crows of Judgment audience is, I mean, smooth brain, suck up idiots. Like if you watch that show and don't come away dumber, you have issues.
Well,
right?
you just didn't have a brain to begin with.
Or you didn't have one to begin with, right? And Steve has been coming to the attention of some of the larger YouTubers in the commentary community. God, that's so painful to say.
Yeah, you guys stay away. That's my punching bag.
Right. He came to Tommy C's attention a while back.
Tommy C is a pretty prominent YouTuber in that
Yeah,
community.
and he smacked the fucking shit out of Steve. And Steve just didn't. Steve thinks that it's like edgy to say. Well, he claims that he's just trying to make a point when he says stupid shit, but he just says stupid shit. And then when he's called on it, goes, I'm just making a point.
Yeah, my sister, brother, and that crew
That's
should know
theirs.
better than to let Steve be on his own, you know?
Got to keep him on a leash.
But they continuously let him out into the world by himself.
Yeah.
And it's always bad. It's always bad.
Every single time. But, I watched this whole thing unfold over the course of the last 3 weeks or so. And it's just been a complete and total case study in what happens in the commentard community.
Yeah.
From the first video to videos then attacking each other's takes on the first video, which, and everybody trying to suss out where they actually fit and which portion, where in that Venn diagram of the various cliques in the commentard community they want to fit into and who they want to suck up to the most before they make up their mind about how they feel about somebody else's nuclear stupid fucking take. Right?
Yeah.
And then it just all dissolves until they're just completely attacking each, all these different groups are attacking other groups. They're all deflecting. It reaches the point where most of them realize they have no defense for the shit they said. There's no defense for the shit Steve Delive was saying. There's absolutely no defense for it's okay because she was 14 and he was 19 and they're teenagers. That's just not. It's bad.
Gross.
It's gross, right? But the people that stand behind that are in that particular clique, that are in that group that associates with him, they all pretend like he never said it. And when you point it out, they dangle this other shiny in front of you, which is usually a lie that they've concocted about what somebody else said.
Yeah. Well,
it's crazy shit.
Yeah. It is. It
And
is
it's not
crazy
just
shit.
and it's not just Steve and the crows and everybody around them. It's every single clique in the commentard community does this. There are very few people in that community that aren't retards.
I mean, I don't
Very,
know all of them are.
very few.
Yeah. Well, let's see what Steve's friends do to try to take heat off of him. Let's watch. So here we have Origami. He is best friends with my sister brother, and also, just like Steve, a co-host of the Crows of Judgment. Now, Origami, by the way, I censored his face so you guys didn't have to deal with that. I like you guys. I don't want to do that to you.
It's not pleasant.
So he says, on the pedo and shit, I don't know who you're even referring to, so I'd figure you want to do something about it. Also, if you don't like excusing people defending pedos, here's someone you can look into. Right? And this is a deflection tactic. Which he points to a tweet of mine, right? Saying that this tweet is in defense of pedos. Where I say, however, this was a chain tweet. This is the second part of a two-part tweet. I say, however, being a pedo isn't a crime. Also, when someone is posting he makes sure it highlights being a pedo isn't a crime, and that's it, right?
Which is factually true.
Yeah. We'll get into why I said that in a second, right? But ignoring the part where I say lolicons can eat a bullet, because we were talking about a lolicon, right? But this is definitely defending pedos, apparently. And this was all a deflection tactic. This is Aura's girlfriend, Kayla. So the thing I was talking about in the tweet that was screenshotted was a catfish whose real name is Jared. Jared liked to do sorry, I almost threw up thinking about it. Sexual lolly roleplay. And would use images of very young girls.
Very young girls. Or girls that look very young.
As if he was them. And Origami has this thing where because I called Jared a pedo because, he is, right? And he's like, well, you didn't call the cops. Well, neither did his girlfriend Kayla, who actually bragged about being the one who told me. But here we can see that she knows he's a pedo. This is a conversation we had about the person, right? And she says, yeah, I was just like abort, possibly Rookie 2.0. Now, Rookie, for none of you guys in the chat will know, but Rookie is well, actually, Brawly might know. But Rookie is a infamous catfishing pedophile in the Weeb Wars community. So clearly she knows, right? But she didn't call the cops either.
But it's okay. Because it's
Yeah.
Kayla.
So, Aura then goes on to say, if he has no evidence, he shouldn't say, imply, or make content on who he believes is a pedo then. And you can make a tip or make a report for investigation on suspicious activity. Now, here's the thing. I do have evidence as to why I believe they're a pedo. And me saying that being a pedophile isn't a crime was in response to Aura saying, well, if they're a pedo, why didn't you call the cops? And I'm saying, well, because there's no crime. The definition of a pedo is someone with the attraction to kids. And I have evidence, and I'll show it in a second, of that person being attracted to, lolly roleplay. Yeah, it's
And
weird.
the cops won't do anything unless you can name an actual victim, and point to an actual victim. The cops aren't going to do shit.
But that's not a prerequisite for if someone's a pedo.
No, it's not.
It's
It's
so
not.
you can have evidence someone's a pedo, but you don't necessarily have evidence they committed a crime, because that's they're two separate things, guys. But it's actually really funny because he's saying that my tweet where I point out that it's not a crime is a defense. Well, actually, this tweet is him defending that pedophile. So,
Dun, dun, dun.
it's actually just really funny. The complete just ignorance. Now, this is the stuff as to why Jared, who is Kitty,
Who was in Sen's DMs.
well, hey, hold on. We're
Sorry.
not there yet, Vicky.
I apologize.
Now this is Kitty's gross lowly roleplay.
Which has to be highly redacted because it was really, really fucking gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is
Little girls with their vaginas exposed. I mean, it was just disgusting.
I don't think someone bangs kids who is also just I don't think that's ever a thing. It's the weirdest hypothetical. So anyways, yeah, so this is Kitty's gross lolly stuff. This was the evidence, and this is who they were doing that gross lolly roleplay with. Sen, who is actually best friends with Steve Delive, Origami, my sister brother,
And
Crow,
Kayla,
and Kayla.
who never
now-
called the cops on Jared.
Yeah, no, so that's the thing they like to leave out of the whole situation is that person that they're talking about at the beginning with the tweets, the person who's, a pedo, was actually they were doing the pedophilic behavior with Sen, aka Senpai's queer. He writes cringe anime fanfics and does sexual loli roleplay. Now, this is Steve Delive basically explaining who Jared/Kitty is.
Jared's even admitted in DMs that the girls he sources for his identities are based off teenagers. And based on the previous post, I'd say pretty early teens. And based on the lewdness of those photos, possibly CP? I don't fucking know.
Now, it's actually really funny because Sen's defense of the whole situation, right, is that he just wanted nudes from the girl.
That looks
Well,
that
Steve
says
goes on to
looks
say
like-
that those girls are so young that it might be CP. So it's not really a good defense of Sen, right? Was that Geeky Pixie? Yeah, it was Geeky Pixie.
That was Geeky Pixie. Same person, but previous incarnation.
Yeah, it does get worse, Johnny. It gets so much worse. it just this isn't even the worst part.
Even the worst part. Wait.
Extra lolly and send it back to your
Oh
cat.
yeah, so this is Sen defending himself back when this all came out. By the way, the Australian talking is ear juice.
Fish, or I mean girlfriend.
No. You mean Jared? No, I didn't send anything to Jared. The only shit that was provided was what Jared sent me, which I thought he was a woman. Let's get that straight, right?
Yes, you're a catfish.
John,
Yes.
Boy, hold on, give me a second.
All right, Mr. Pedophile, keep talking. Yes.
Either way, no. All that was sent was a bunch of Japanese cartoon drawings.
Just a bunch of Japanese cartoon drawings.
Jared sent them, and
It wasn't lolly, guys.
there was one.
It was
no,
just
hold on.
No. What did you say?
Aussie,
Oh, that's gotta be clear. It was
Aussie,
just Japanese.
Japanese cartoon drawings, Aussie.
pictures, cartoon drawings, guys.
Aussie. Yeah. All right.
So, Sen, did you send those pictures back to Jared, your girlfriend, the catfish?
No, I copy and pasted one image.
It was just one time. There was just one copy and paste, guys, and it was just a Japanese picture, cartoon drawing.
Yeah.
It wasn't lolly at all, guys. Totally wasn't lolly.
The one I copied and pasted wasn't Molly.
Well, this is the one he claims he only copy and pasted. He didn't save. Although at the time on Discord, when you copy and paste stuff, it's like a link would show up, right? So pretty sure he saved it. But Kitty did send this image first a while before in their conversation. But that looks like lolly, right? Like, I censored it, guys.
I like the kind of excuse that he tried to first slip in there. It was like okay to be sharing these images because he thought it was a woman and not a guy. Did you catch that?
Well, because he wants
all these
nudes.
times I've listened to this, it's like, that one slipped past. But yeah, it was okay for him to be sharing these because he thought
This
it
is
was
just
a woman.
regular Japanese cartoons. First of all, Vicky.
Yeah, of course it is.
That's all that is. Definitely not lolly.
Cat ears.
Cat ears. The cat ears defense. Pretty gross. Anyways, moving on. We're gonna be going into my sister brother. Now, my sister brother, Crow, can be found in these tweets where they're claiming I'm defending pedophiles, which is, fuck you, Crow. But this is really where, I mean, at least in my opinion, the real grossness comes in, because he can be seen liking the tweets, and can we not go into your sister brother? I think that's a good point, Spectre.
It is fair.
That's fair.
Unfortunately, we kind of have to.
Yeah, so he can be seen liking the tweets, sharing them, responding in agreement, fuck you, Crow. So anyways, this is my sister brother, And on Kiwi Farms, this is basically how they link. Yeah, Big Daddy. It does. But this is how they link my sister brother to some pretty gross stuff. Now, so they it showed his date of birth, which obviously I censored. I censored pretty much everything. Also his email, but I still censored it. But those are the identifying marks, right, to this account where the username is, the same as the email, and the date of birth there at the yeah, I saw that. Was the same, right? But of course I censored those. Now, just for further confirmation that it's him, the first name that he puts at the top, which I censored, is his middle name. But he also says that he's half Arab, which we are. So now they linked this account or that user to this trans forum website, where my sister brother says, just wanted to say hello to all. I'm joining this site because I'm a male to female transgender that is currently living in secret. Gross.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
They, also say on the website that they're, just for further confirmation, it's them, a dirty Arab person, which I can confirm. My sister brother is a dirty Arab person. They then link the account to this really gross roleplay website, where they want to do Futa roleplay, and which is gross, but not as gross as the incestuous roleplay, right? Which actually I was so grossed out about that I actually never even caught the corrupt cop juvenile delinquent part.
Yeah, I've read some of that fiction, I guess.
Yeah, there was also some fanfic stuff.
That was just
gross.
And I mean incest, Futa, gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
That was extremely gross.
Yeah.
There was actually a lot more that I could have shown, but it's it's all there on the forums.
Well,
if you guys really want to search it out, I guess you could.
How is this related? Asked Latchkey Girl.
Well, because my sister brother is part of that group, and he's actually defending, or like he's retweeting like Origami's and replying to Origami's attempts to essentially distract from Steve by claiming that I defend pedos.
Yeah.
So that's why. Fuck Crow. And that's, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. Have you seen him lately?
Gross.
Oh, gross. His pinned tweet is the opening for his stupid Crow of Judgment show, right? Judgment, I don't know, Con Order or something lame like that. And he's sitting there fat as fuck in a bathrobe with his tits hanging out. And it is just like the grossest thing ever.
Well, I mean, he always wanted to have tits, apparently.
And now he has them.
Yeah. Gross.
Gross.
So anyways, fuck you, Crow. And fuck your pedophilic defending friends, and sends pedophilic roleplay. Holy shit.
I watched this. He'd been stabbed and he'd tripped. He was fucking around with the dog. and he tripped, and like a knife went into his foot or something crazy like that. And instead of going to the hospital, he started up his scheduled live stream, which is just fucking crazy to me, right? But Wingless, I think that was all about garnering the sympathy for hurting himself more than anything. See how much I love you guys. This is my dedication. This is how dedicated I am to you. It was just, he lasted 10 minutes and his wife made him go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his co-host for the evening, whoever that is. It wasn't Steve or Gami or Sen. It was some other derp.
Yeah.
That he conned into streaming with him.
So basically, once again, all these people are gross and degenerate, and stay away from that community. Like, oh God. It's always fun to sit back and laugh at them, though.
Right. I feel kind of the same way about Comicsgate.
Well, now you know. And knowing is half the battle. Also, don't forget to throw up, wash your teeth, and then wash your hands of the whole situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that's enough for me. We almost hit an hour this time.
Almost.
Almost.
One of these days, we may even hit 2. Nah.
We're never doing that.
We're
never going to be going live for 2 hours. Fuck you guys. I can't stand the people in the chat that long.
That shit.
You guys are all the worst. Anyways, but in seriousness, love you all, I guess.
Have a fantastic
Pause, you're about to get yourself, you're about to get yourself fastly fucking banned, you son of a bitch. Nah, just joking.
Just kidding.
But actually, everybody go check out the Moculus channel. He's got some fun spurgery on there for sure.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. So, fuck you, Larry, you son of a bitch. Anyways, nah, just joking. You all have a wonderful night.
Go unsubscribe to Dean.
Yeah, fuck you, Vicky. We're just gonna fuck you. No. Anyways, sorry about that. Never let females talk.